of innovation in the Middle East region, actually, for 2 years, from 2012 to 14, and then moved back to Palo Alto and drove innovation and digital transformation for world's top enterprises, very recognized names like Nike. I work with Apple and large energy sectors, healthcare, retail. And during that time frame, actually, I got exposed to, about 8 or 9 years back, to a concept called design thinking. Not sure how many of you are familiar with that, but this is an approach to bring human centricity and understanding the needs of the users first. उससे पहले क्या होता था कि you used to conceive an idea, you build the software or solution, you test it, quality is fine, and then users were the last one to be exposed to what you were trying to do. What design thinking did was flip the equation. You bring the users front and center ताकि understand करें उनकी problems. If Einstein said that if I had like an hour to solve a problem, I would spend 55 minutes to understand the problem. And that's the key essence. Too often what we do is we think that we understand the problem, we understand users' need, and then we jump on solution. And we become tech geeks and all those kind of things. But if you look at all the new unicorns and successful companies, they actually solve the specific human problems. So I essentially used that approach in driving innovation from Silicon Valley and transformation to world's largest organizations in the world. And then for the last 4 or 5 months, I joined SAP Ariba. It's a $3 trillion global e-commerce platform. Some of your companies might also be using it. It facilitates purchase procurement, and I drive their strategy around intelligence, how to leverage data and AI to automate. So we have created a vision for autonomous procurement. So in future, the procurement needs for any enterprises would be understood by the system using data, and most of the manual processes will be automated. So I drive that endeavor. During this journey, it has been an amazing journey of learning, and that is one of the key learnings for me in life is, if जैसे Prophet Muhammad ﷺ ने भी कहा, if your today is not better than yesterday, and if your coming tomorrow is not better than today, your life is wasted. And what I take that hadith as is learning. Every day you should be learning and improving yourself, whether it's behavior or your capabilities or your expertise, you should be improving. So during this process, I learned a lot. I worked with great engineers from all over the world, from India, China, Israel, Korea, Pakistanis, and others. And I learned a lot, not just technology-wise, but business-wise, human behavior-wise. During this process, I was blessed to have like 6 US patents on the inventions that I was part of.
Can you talk about those patents?
Some of those are very technical in nature, algorithms that I built, and around production planning processes, optimization. So when you have large industrial production orders coming in, sometimes organizations need to split the orders, merge the orders, change the end target product. Okay. That has implications on cost, resources, and others. So I built some of those algorithms which are running live on SAP's solutions.
Okay.
One was around RFID solution and connectivity. And then I also, during the process of last 5 years when I was driving innovation, we built a lot of future concepts. And one of those projects earned 2 design awards as well. One of them was the Red Dot Award, which is considered the Oscars of design.
Okay.
So I got the opportunity to do all this because I got to work with a lot of experts. So it was not just my endeavor, it was the whole team which worked on certain ideas, and we shared those things. So I always consider that it's not just I don't consider myself anything special. It's just the opportunities that was given to me by Allah and my family and the environment that helped me do whatever I can. And then finally, during that 5 years of driving transformations with world's leading organizations, I worked with three constituents. One was the business community, who understand business analytics and run the numbers, but they did not have much understanding of technology. Forget about user needs. They had no clue.
Right.
Then the other side was the tech geeks, who were really passionate about technology, but they had very little understanding of business and no understanding of users. And then there was like a designer community who were really empathetic towards the needs of the users, but they did not much understand technology and business. I was in the center of those three constituents, and I worked with them to orchestrate what is the problem we are trying to solve for a enterprise and how to rapidly solve it. So what I did was I created a structured framework which would be helpful for all of these constituents to convert their ideas into a business. And that's what my book was published earlier this year on that.
So if someone wants to work in the space of design thinking, he or she needs to sit at the center of these three different areas, which is industry, technology, and thinkers, or maybe the consumers. So is that what you're saying?
Design thinking is, to me, a mindset, a human-centered mindset. It's a mindset, a beginner's mindset. It's a mindset of asking questions. The one thing which, if I were to impart here, and if you were to take, is never assume that you know about what the user would need, about what the problem is. Always validate your assumptions. So it's a mindset which puts the user in front and center. Put yourself literally in the shoes of the users to understand what the user is going through. Just to give you a very mundane example, अगर आप सोच रहे हैं कि how to simplify the experience of a retail clerk, अब आपने कभी retail clerk के shoes में थे ही नहीं, how would you know कि what the life of that retail clerk is? So you spend a few hours at least in that shoes to see what they have to go through. हम लोगों ने जब projects किए to solve problems for truck drivers, so our team actually spent the day with the truck drivers. कि वो किस तरह ट्रक चला रहे हैं, कहाँ पे स्टॉप ओवर हो रहा है, वहाँ पे जा रहे हैं, उनको क्या प्रॉब्लम्स हो रही हैं, किस तरह वो ऑर्डर कोऑर्डिनेट कर रहे हैं डिस्पैचर से, एंड ऑल दोस काइंड ऑफ थिंग्स, एंड हैव एन ऑब्जर्वेशन ऑफ अ चाइल्ड. बच्चों के साथ क्या होता है, दे आस्क ट्रिमेंडस अमाउंट ऑफ क्वेश्चंस, राइट? अभी हम अपनी इस सेशन से पहले डिस्कशन कर रहे थे अबाउट क्रिएटिविटी. क्रिएटिविटी इज अबाउट आस्किंग क्वेश्चंस, नॉट मेकिंग assumptions. तो आप कई सारी दफ़ा ये होता है कि and the way you ask questions can convert a conversation into a very delightful knowledge sharing experience, or could be a threatening one. You have to be very careful about it. That's where the psychology part comes in. That's where the human centricity part also comes in. Techies and business guys are pretty crappy at it. Designers are pretty good at it, right? So they're very empathetic. So I think it's about mindset of asking questions, mindset of putting yourself into users' shoes and looking the world from their perspective. It's a mindset of quick prototyping.
Right.
Immediately, even when you have a concept that, yeah, I mean, I can solve this problem with this technical solution, without spending too much resources, you can just sketch out a storyboard how the future would be and then validate with the user, right? So again, experimenting, prototyping from the day one, putting yourself into that's the thing. Now, obviously, it does require training. Some people are very good at it intuitively, but these are very small. I would say like 1 in a million kind of folks, right? Those end up becoming successful entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
So I think that's what it is.
Yeah, so I think one of the things which we wanted to discuss was design thinking, which was part of your introduction. And as you mentioned, there is the human-centric element or the mindset. And working in healthcare and working in health and IT additionally, what we have reached in healthcare globally is patient-centric healthcare. So from our perspective, it is the client-centric or the patient-centric healthcare. So now the whole healthcare system is being reorganized around the patients as opposed to the physicians or the regulators, which was a previous trend. So we do have our experience in that as well. You spoke about innovation, and you mentioned innovation, you mentioned strategy, you mentioned AI, big words.
Yep.
So how would you define innovation? I know we can define innovation in so many different ways.
Innovation.
What's your take?
There is a very small equation, but very profound. Innovation equals creativity times execution. What does that mean is, and we have been, our education system trains us on execution. This is the problem, find the best way to solve this, right? This is the problem, find the best algorithm to solve it. But we are pretty bad at the creativity part, which is used to find the right problem. If you are solving a problem which in the most efficient way, but that's not the right problem to solve, it's not going to be very useful. So innovation is about applying creativity to find the right problem first. To give you an example, I was driving this engagement with state of Indiana in US, and उनके governor पूरे statewide initiative. They invited me to help solve their procurement execution problem. So there was a one-day workshop that I led, and the business leaders and IT leaders and all the stakeholders were there. So what I did was, and we work in a very collaborative environment, so on a wall, I said, okay, let's lay out what the journey of the procurement cycle is. What we found out was procurement execution took about 5 days out of a 9-month cycle. So I said, okay, what do you guys do in the first 8.5 months? They said, we gather requirements for procurement. I said, okay, doesn't it make sense to solve that problem, which consumes 8.5 months, rather than this problem which only takes, अगर आप वहाँ पे 20% improvement भी ले आएंगे, it will be like saving 1 day. Here अगर आप 5% भी improvement ले आएंगे, you're saving a month or more, right? So the direction changed. Point was, we had a problem statement which was not the right problem to solve. So I helped them in finding the right problem. That's the creativity part. And then you try to figure out what are the solutions existing, what can we use, how can we solve it. So to me, innovation is creativity times execution.
Okay, so that's a new way of defining, because we have struggled to with understanding and actually explaining innovation.
And Zaki Sahab, if I did not use any technical terms, I did not use any AI, because that comes in the end. First, you find the problem, and then you figure out the execution part, what's the best way to do that. Now, if you happen to be sitting on lots of data, clean data, where you can apply artificial intelligence to glean some insights which are useful, then so be it. But abhi aajkal kya ho raha hai, just to move a little forward, please. AI ki, it's a new buzzword. Every problem, actually I read an article recently which said that about 40 to 50% of startups which use AI in their pitch, they're not using AI at all. But their valuation certainly becomes 4 times.
That's the buzzword.
Right?
That's what people want to hear.
Exactly. So I mean, it's good for getting funding, but it's not good for solving the right problems.
But what's your take on AI?
Yeah.
Is it a hyper-inflated, area, or it holds a lot more potential than what we are even,
So
conceiving
AI
right now?
जो है ना, उसके अंदर 2 तरह की AI होती हैं. एक होती है artificial intelligence, which are used in our maps, in our iPhones and others.
We've been using it for many years.
दूसरा होता है artificial general AI. We are much farther, which is essentially coming to the same level of intelligence as human is. A 3-year-old human being, a child, is able to learn to walk, recognize faces, speak the language of their parents or the environment, understand how to grab the bottle and how to break the glass, right? Or ye tamam cheezein. And no AI system can do it today. So that's artificial general intelligence, because the same human being can learn so many things. What we are right now doing is a very narrow focus of AI, which is called machine learning.
Yes.
Where based on historical data that you have, you apply that data to what we call neural network. I don't want to put too much jargons over here, but that system, which mimics human brain, learns the patterns. जैसा human brain कैसे pattern learn करते हैं. एक ही बच्चा अगर पैदा हो पाकिस्तान में, कराची में, उर्दू स्पीकिंग फैमिली में, वो 3 साल में उर्दू स्पीक कर रहा होगा या 5 साल में, ठीक है. वही बच्चा अगर इंटीरियर सिंध में होगा सिंधी बोल रहा होगा. वही बच्चा अगर चाइना में होगा तो मैंडरिन बोल रहा होगा. वही अगर अमेरिका में होगा तो इंग्लिश बोल रहा होगा. सेम ब्रेन है, बट बेस्ड ऑन जो लैंग्वेज उसके सराउंडिंग में बोली जा रही थी, ब्रेन लर्नड इट. सिमिलरली जो भी डाटा आप फीड करेंगे, दैट न्यूरल नेट सिस्टम विल लर्न इट टू जनरेट पैटर्न्स. नाउ अगर तो वो डाटा गार्बेज है तो पैटर्न्स भी गार्बेज है. अगर वो डाटा में बायस है तो आउटकम भी बायस है.
So what is the future? And we all read about AI.
फ्यूचर
What do
जो
you
है ना,
think is the future? और उसके साथ ही मैं चाहूँगा कि because we are open,
बिल्कुल
and
questions,
open, you know, believes in collaboration and
बिल्कुल.
believes in synergies and helping each other, and that's why we are here.
Exactly.
And how can Open Global and Open Karachi or Lahore, how can we, you know, facilitate this learning or the curve which is there? तो दोनों पे अगर आप जरा अपनी रोशनी डालें.
बिल्कुल. सो फ्यूचर तो ये है कि जो हमने अभी तक टेक्नोलॉजी, और मेरे वाले साहब बैठे हुए यहाँ पे, वो कहते हैं कि जो उन्होंने चेंजेस देखे दुनिया में, कि वो रेडियो से लेके अब बिल्कुल मतलब आईफोन के ऊपर आप सब देख रहे हैं, और ये और वो ट्रांसपोर्टेशन में, वो और किसी जनरेशन में नहीं देखें. ही इज एब्सोल्युटली राइट. जो नेक्स्ट 20 ईयर्स में जो चेंजेस आएंगे ना, वो उससे 10 टाइम्स ज़्यादा होंगे.
ठीक है.
And a major driver of that will be AI, whether we like it or not. A lot of things, is essentially technology, what technology does is makes time for human beings to do better things. 200 years back, a 98% of population was doing what? Focused on generating food, feeding ourselves. Agriculture. Up maybe two, depending on the country, but between 2 to 20%. In US is only 2% population who's focused on agriculture, right? तो क्या हुआ? सबको फूड मिल रहा है, बल्कि ज़्यादा ज़रूरत से ज़्यादा मिल रहा है, ओबीस हो जा रहे हैं हम, राइट? तो हुआ क्या? टेक्नोलॉजी इनोवेशन हुई, राइट? अभी हम क्या क्या कर रहे हैं? अभी हम गाड़ी चला के यहाँ पे आ रहे हैं, अभी जहाज़ जा रहे हैं तो पायलट को चलाना पड़ रहा है, राइट? अभी हम किचन में जाएं तो हम लोग खाना बनाना पड़ रहा है, राइट? ये सब चीज़ें nobody likes to do. Who wants to drive a car in this traffic, right? Who wants to cook, spend 2 hours and cook the food? Unless ठीक है आप अपने loved one के लिए बना रहे हैं, fine. But literally nobody really wants to do that. If there was choice, they would do something better, like creative, some other creative endeavors. So what technology has enabled us to do is improve our creative potential and take advantage of that, right? Future में ये होगा, but there is a caution. पहले ज़माने में क्या होता था कि जब ये टेक्नोलॉजिकल चेंजेस आते थे इंडस्ट्रियल रेवोल्यूशन में, तो फिर भी एक जनरेशन ने अपनी जॉब 30-40 साल की, नेक्स्ट जनरेशन वुड गो ऑन टू द सेकेंड वन. इस वक्त जो ड्यूरेशन बिटवीन टेक्नोलॉजिकल इनोवेशन है, जो पेस है, वो इतना फास्ट हो गया है कि यू वोंट हैव टाइम टू अडेप्ट टू इट, एंड देयर इज अ रिस्क ऑफ सोशल, मैसिव सोशल डिसरप्शन इन द वर्ल्ड. किसी ने बड़ा खूब कहा है कि the illiterate of the future will not be the one who cannot read or write, will be the one who cannot unlearn, learn and relearn. So the continuous cycle will be to learn in a new environment, because these technologies are going to disrupt business processes, industries, job categories on the one hand, but they will also create new categories of jobs which will be 10 times more, but they require different skills.
So building upon what you just mentioned, and Harun Saab is sitting in the audience, and he shared something on WhatsApp last night or early morning. X number of jobs जो हैं वो ख़त्म हो जाएंगे, लेकिन X+1 number of jobs will be created.
जी हाँ.
But वो जो जॉब्स क्रिएट होंगी वो सिर्फ उन लोगों के लिए अपॉर्चुनिटी होंगी हु आर गियर्ड अप फॉर दैट.
Yep.
सो एक, और उसमें केओस का भी वर्ड था, एंड आई थिंक इट वाज रियली इंटरेस्टिंग कि अगर हमने ये बैलेंस और मैच नहीं क्रिएट किया, देयर विल बी अ केओस बिकॉज देयर इज अ नीड,
Social disruption.
एंड देयर इज अ सोशल डिस्ट्रक्शन बिकॉज देयर इज नो सप्लाई. सो हाउ, अगर मैं उसको कनेक्ट करूं विद यू बीइंग देयर, you know, and with the intent of paying back to Pakistan, how can we help our younger generation to fill that, you know, gap and the potential opportunity?
ये जो topic है, it requires like multi-hours discussions, right? So, can you guys hear me? Okay. एक बुक आप लोग ज़रूर रीड कीजिएगा व्हेन यू गेट अ चांस, वो हरारी की है, युवल हरारी. इट्स अ फेमस philosopher and historian. It's called, he has written 3 books and all of them are amazing. But the book is 21 lessons for 21st century. उसमें एक उसने statement बड़ा अच्छा बोला है कि throughout history human beings have fought against exploitation. In future they will they will have to fight against irrelevance because human beings will become irrelevant. Even यार एग्रीकल्चर में इतनी इनोवेशन हो रही है कि जो फूड प्रिकिंग है ना आपकी, वो भी मशीन्स कर रही हैं, रोबोट. वो देख रही हैं कि यार कंप्यूटर विजन से ये वाली स्ट्रॉबेरी रेडी टू पिक है, ये वाली नहीं है, उसको छोड़ के इसको पकड़ लिया. राइट? तो वी विल बिकम इररेलेवेंट अनलेस, एक तो इसमें, एंड आई डोंट हैव ऑल द आंसर्स ऑब्वियसली, बट इंडिविजुअली वी हैव एक्सेस टू all the knowledge in the world. I recently came across a story in which there was a musician who went to Berkeley, got a musician degree, right? But he thought, man, what am I, कोई prospects इतने अच्छे नहीं हैं. उसने देखा कि SpaceX की ना वो flight हो रही थी ना, तो he got fascinated. I want to work with SpaceX, but why would they hire me? What he did, within 2 years, learned to build the space rocket with the structural design, with the engine components, with the computer programming, with the thrust, and he did many prototypes. There's a video of it, 1 hour video. You just search on YouTube, you should be able to find it. But this guy learned to build a spacecraft, a small scale, through prototyping, and online he learned coding, he learned structural design. He got 2 books on those topics, and then on the online he kept learning and applying that and continuously learning. And he started a business of that. He sells those kits and does something else too. The point is, all the children today, and everyone, each one of us, we should be considering ourselves as a student with access to unlimited source of knowledge at our fingertips. On the other hand, we also have access to unlimited source of frivolous entertainment. तो अपने बच्चों को मैं भी, it's a very difficult battle to push them to use that time wisely and not be hooked on their screen, just kind of passing time, right? तो use your time wisely. आप अगर religious leaning हैं तो learn from the story of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. अगर आप नहीं हैं तो just आप अपने benefit के लिए कीजिए कि spend time in learning stuff and continuously. That's it. There is no shortcut. और जो गवर्नमेंट लेवल पे वी हैव टू मेक श्योर कि देयर आर प्रोग्राम्स. पाकिस्तान में 60% पीपल लिव इन रूरल एरियाज एंड आई एम रियली कंसर्न्ड अबाउट देम. व्हाट विल हैपन टू देम? वहाँ पे फ्यूडल कंट्रोल के अंदर हैं एंड दे डोंट हैव एक्सेस टू इवन बेसिक एजुकेशन. आई डोंट नो व्हाट विल हैपन टू देम. वी हैव टू वर्क एज अ सोसाइटी, एज अ गवर्नमेंट, एज अ इंडिविजुअल. हम लोग जो बाहर हैं, वी आर ट्राइंग टू फिगर आउट कि किस तरह. अभी पिछले महीने आई वॉज इन्वाइटेड एट स्टार्टअप ग्राइंड कॉन्फ्रेंस and ran a retreat to really generate ideas on how can we use innovation and entrepreneurship, and I've kind of summarized that in a report which should be published shortly. But the point is, we have to work collectively, we have to take responsibility individually, but it's a continuous learning world in the future. And if we don't do that, we don't own it, it will be at our own peril.
So I think before we start the interactive part, जो मैंने कम से कम आपकी बात से पिक किया है वो ये है कि हमारा फोकस जो होना चाहिए अब, चाहे वो हमारे बच्चे हों, चाहे वो जिनको हम मेंटोर कर रहे हों, इवन आवर कॉलीग्स, पीपल वर्किंग विद अस इन जूनियर और सीनियर पोजीशन, पीपल हु आर रनिंग इंडस्ट्रीज बट हु आर थ्रेटन्ड, we need to keep ourselves relevant.
Yep.
I think that's probably the best takeaway from this conversation, and I think Harari साहब की किताबें जो हैं वो अच्छी हैं, and that's a good suggestion. So we'll open the conversation. थोड़ा सा सर तारुफ भी कराएंगे आप अपना. हाँ, माइक ले लें, तारुफ कराएं और जो क्वेश्चन है वो करें.
जी, my name is Danish Halvi. I'm from Pegasus Consultancy. Went to exhibitions. I'm the media head. ये जो आपकी बुक है बहुत अच्छी लग रही है बुक, तो इसके मुतालिक कुछ बताएं. Because I thought, I was in Lahore actually, yesterday I just came to know कि सेमिनार हो रहा है. I thought that was the topic, the transforming ideas through business thinking. So how can we do that?
बुक लीजिए, पढ़िए. तो
That's called design thinking.
देखिए मैं आपको थोड़ा सा समरी बता देता हूँ कि everyone has ideas. I have not met a single person who does not have an idea. And actually, each one of us, if you just keep an inventory of ideas that you get in the day, you'll be surprised how many ideas you will have. You will have like 10s or 20s idea every day. What happens that, and a lot of those ideas are great, but ideas are nothing without execution. So what happens is those people who look at that idea, but then they execute it, they are the ones who either make it or not make it, but they learn in that journey. So this book is about looking at any of your ideas, asking what questions you need to ask to see whether there is a merit in that idea or not, right? So there are 4 stages of that in which I have documented with some specific instructions. Very simple. It's not a very thick book. It's a very template oriented. Very, very quickly you can do it. So the first stage is understand the problem. Once you understood the problem, and again, how to have user centricity, who is the problem for, what is it that you're trying to solve, and how did you go about doing that. Second is you devise a solution. How to do that with quick prototyping and so on and so forth. The third stage is crafting a business, right? So what is the context in which you are playing, and how can you convert that into a business? And there's a human-centered business model that you can follow in this one. And then the final stage, which is the most forgotten, is how you manage risk, which is based on the uncertainties, which are based on assumptions that you make throughout the first 3 stages. That's the book is about. So it helps you in getting the inventory of what are the assumptions you are making throughout this journey. Make sure you validate those assumptions while you are in this journey as quickly as possible, and then do something. There are several examples.
Actually,
Design thinking तो many है. I mean, to give you one example is Apple. Do you know Apple's university has for the last 20 plus years teaching design thinking inside. They never tell their secret, but they're actually in Apple University inside. They teach design thinking to pretty much every employee. And there is possibly no other example of a more user-centric company than Apple itself, right? So they keep the user experience at the front and center.
So
that's
what do you mean when you say that they have been teaching design thinking for the last 20 years? How do you teach design thinking?
It's a very immersive experience, and design thinking is about user centricity. So
Yes.
they walk you through the vicarious experiences. Put yourself into user's shoes. So there are different techniques. Some of them are mentioned in the book too. And it's a very collaborative engagement. Unfortunately, it's very difficult to do it in a classroom style or even online. You have to set up a workshop style. Even if I were to do the session here, I would change this setting to make teams so that they live through that experience. So it's a little different. So the whole Stanford D School we collaborated with, and pretty much all the top universities in the world are adopting design thinking as one process of innovation. Obviously, there are others too, but this is something which is more relevant because it also, another part is cross-functional collaboration. In future, if you look at any solution, most of the solutions, they don't just require one discipline. You have to have multiple disciplines working together to solve a problem, right? So that requires the collaboration and bringing the point of view of multiple disciplinary teams together to really harness that power, right? So that's all part of that.
Sure. Please.
Assalamu alaikum. My name is Kumain Kurban, and I'm running a data science institute in Karachi where we focus on training and development for university students and industry professionals. So I really enjoyed, a lot of the points that you raised in your amazing discussion. एक जो point particularly जो मैंने pick किया, which I feel I also kind of want to focus on in the near term, is where you mentioned that 60% of our population, Pakistani population, live in the rural areas, right? And then you mentioned कि आने वाला जो दौर है, it's going to be about relevance, right? तो जिस तरह like during Chairman Mao's time in China, where there was a genocide of about 25 million Chinese people. Why? Because he wanted to preserve the resources for the future generation, right? So that Pakistan does not, face the same consequences of like resource burden of population. तो मेरा सवाल ये है कि how can we make, or is it possible to teach or train or develop those 60% of Pakistani population AI and data science and these kind of skills in a language that they understand? If so, like, can you point like some examples of how it's being done, from your own understanding or experience?
I'll be honest to admit that I don't have a lot of experience in working with the rural areas, so whatever my perspective would not be first-hand perspective. But based on my reading, I think one example was in a rural area in India where there was an experiment done in which one guy, and I forgot who that person was. What he tried to do, he tried to do an experiment that, and I think he called it knowledge in a hole or something like that, a hole in a wall, something like that. What he did was he had one PC in a room he created in a village where pretty much no children were educated or illiterate. Even literacy was zero. He just wanted to do an experiment. A computer वहाँ रख दिया which was on throughout the day. Keyboard था, mouse था और screen थी. Everything was hidden behind kind of. वो बच्चे आते थे सुबह से खेलते थे. You would be surprised those kids learn to use the computer, learn to even go online, internet, learn to start searching, and they started learning languages. उस village में पता नहीं कितने 25-30 बच्चे जो थे ना, they learned to use computer without any formal education. So there are numerous examples like that in which, and we should not be thinking of teaching them data science and AI. We should be getting them to open their minds first. I think one of the things, the major problem in our society especially is mindset problem. It is the personal, individual mindset, it is the institutional mindset, and it is the national mindset. There are many facets of mindset. The number one thing is the fixed mindset. We think fixed mindset, and there is and Dr. Saab will tell better, there is a difference between fixed mindset and growth mindset. Fixed mindsets think that we are born with certain capabilities. Allah ने जो दिया है बस उस पे तकिया करके बैठ जाएं. दूसरा है growth mindset in which you think कि Allah ने हमको abilities दी हैं that we can improve ourselves. And this could be in every aspect. And that's a very difficult thing. It's probably very difficult thing to solve. But if we create the environment, I've run these workshops even in Saudi Arabia, where one of the teams was nurses, females. Most of them were fully veiled. But when I created that environment of creativity, that was the team which was coming up with the best ideas, with the most innovative ideas, and they were the most passionate about taking those ideas forward. So I strongly believe that if we create an environment in which psychological safety is there, people they feel safe in raising questions, asking questions, and they're not threatened. I think if we can solve that part, I think the rest will be very easy. We shouldn't be focused on technology first. We should be focusing on my ecosystem, mindset. And I think in a Vadera environment, it's very difficult. Feudal environment is very difficult. उनका mindset भी change करना है. तो क्या करें?
अस्सलाम वालेकुम.
Help Conan if he's interested. We just started an initiative by like 6-7 companies in which English Biscuit, Shield, Reckitt Benckiser, and Centex. The idea is to go to the rural areas and empower the female segment.
Yes.
And help them to sell the products of hygiene products. So Reckitt Benckiser has hygiene products, Shield has a baby care products, English Biscuit has biscuits, Shan Foods is there. So the concept is, the product cannot reach to those places where we can arrange a certain mahalla or the area where the woman can feel, can go out and become bread earner for the family. And these are like very rural areas. So maybe,
आप सही कह रहे हैं, बिल्कुल.
Conan can explore the idea where this being empowered woman, and you can give them the technology, how they can be more efficient. And I agree with you, we don't have to teach them AI,
No.
Just make them empower and, teach them how to use the computer and how they can, use for their sales, for their calculations, for their accounting, things like this, and you can
बिल्कुल हो
change the
सकता है,
world.
बल्कि इस पे तो मोहम्मद यूनुस साहब को नोबेल प्राइज मिला, राइट, ग्रामीण बैंक का और माइक्रो फाइनेंसिंग का, राइट, और उसमें क्या था, उसमें कुछ नहीं, चार पांच वुमेन इन अ अंडर प्रिविलेज सोसाइटी, they had to come up with 5 business plans, and it had like the most historically zero default rate or something close to zero, right? The point is economic, and you're absolutely right. I think if we facilitate economic क्या कहते हैं, security for them so that they are not relying on somebody else, and unfortunately I feel like very ये कहते हैं ना disheartened हमारी society में, even not just the women, actually जो lower career की women हैं, they are much more enterprising than the middle class, because in middle class somehow this mindset comes in कि यार अगर वो काम करेंगी तो somehow they are lower. 50% of doctors, women doctors, are, that's the stat is, I think they are not working, they are not productive. Those are not the lower category, lower society की वो नहीं है, they are highly educated, upper middle class. This is the mindset of our families. ससुराल को खुश करो, that's fine. I mean, what kind of society are we raising, right? So we have to change a lot of level. I mean, but economic empowerment is the basic, I think. Yes.
Okay, so a quick question. My name is Dr. Mohammed Imran. I'm a mental health specialist. आपने कहा back to basic चले गए हैं, दोबारा ट्रक ड्राइवर के साथ बैठेंगे, वहाँ से प्रोसेस शुरू करेंगे. तो quick question ये है कि can machine will change human being emotions? Can machine will be producing emotions? And can any time the machine will be superseding or smarter than human?
इसके अंदर मैं तो बहुत ही लो लेवल का आदमी हूँ, लेकिन जो बेस्ट ब्रेन्स इन दिस फील्ड हैं, उनके अंदर there is wide disagreement on this topic. Some people say that this is called singularity. Singularity is a point where human will transcend biology. What that means is that you won't be confined to your human cells for your consciousness. As soon as you are passing away, you could transform yourself into some digital being, which will continue living forever, right? Some people would say, and also the other angle is that machines would surpass human intelligence. And that probably would be the last invention humans have to make. But that's another conversation. But the jury is still out. Some people say that within 20 years we'll reach that. Some people say within 200 years we'll reach that. But I believe we will reach something close to that. It comes down to a very nebulous concept of consciousness, what you're referring to. And consciousness is what does that mean, to be conscious? What does it mean, right? There's a lot of work being done, and I think आपकी जो यहाँ माशाल्लाह clinic चल रही है ज़बरदस्त, उसमें some of the application is there, and I'm talking about the people who are researching about in this field, and this is fascinating, that behavioral science, neuroscience, psychology, psychiatry, all these fields are merging to really solve the problem of what makes a human conscious, right? Because if we understand that, then we can try to talk about how can machine have consciousness. We are talking about over there, can machines have rights? So we are much farther in this society, but I think over there, this discussion is currently happening.
Assalamu alaikum. Abdullah sir, the school I have started is Shoal International Academy. We actually follow IB system, which from the secondary classes also actually has a subject design and technology, which is what you've been talking
Great,
about.
yeah.
One small thing which he just mentioned, I would like to say, a computer, no matter how much advanced you do, is only as intelligent as you make it. It has still, at the end, artificial intelligence still has is limited to the brains who made that particular software.
I would beg to disagree with that, because I would want to understand how would you define intelligence. अगर मैं आपसे कहूँ यहाँ से मुझे बताइए कि best possible route क्या है सदर में उस दुकान को ढूंढने का, और किस टाइम पे मैं निकलूँ तो best possible मुझे मिलेगा, you won't be able to tell me. Google will be able to tell me. So Google is more intelligent than you and I, right?
Wrong. No.
So the point
it's
is,
still wrong, because at that particular spot there have been many times I have been misguided by Google because of the traffic at that time. There was
Yes,
a diversion and things
bilkul.
happening, which is not always there.
Bilkul.
So it does
It's,
have
anyway,
its.
Karuna, this is a very fascinating discussion. Yeah.
Anyway, the other thing you mentioned, feudalism still is deep rooted in Pakistan,
Yeah.
where it was totally almost routed out by the Indian government in India.
Yes.
So, having what the rural lords do in Pakistan, they are even controlling how much and how you are giving education in the rural areas.
Bilkul.
So it's not that easy. It might actually
is not
work
easy.
more door to door कि एक teacher goes to everyone's house and family को पूरा बिठा के पढ़ाए. जैसे ही वो street पे आएगा वहाँ rural में बच्चों को तो somebody is going to come and see कि पढ़ा क्या रहे हैं. They have a very this deep उनके अंदर ये बहुत बड़ी apprehension है कि जैसे ही ये कोई भी गांव का बच्चा पढ़ जाएगा तो पावर जो एक
बिल्कुल,
वो
सही
राइट
कह
और
रहे हैं।
राइट्स पता
Mindset।
लग जाएंगे और ये हमें कल उठा के फेंकेगा।
बिल्कुल सही कह रहे हैं, बिल्कुल सही।
So when you mentioned the scheme that worked in India, in the rural, it's they are so scared of this power coming to their children.
I totally
So
agree.
I don't. I mean, it's going to be very difficult to get that thing successfully done here.
बिल्कुल।
Let me add to that.
अल्लाह करे कुछ हो जाए।
There's a few things which I just want to mention, and I'm sure that a lot of us already know that. So, आपने यूनुस साहब की बात की. I've spent 3 days with Yunus Saab in the US, understanding his social business model and how he works. So he was kind enough to allow me to be part of that.
You are privileged.
Yes, I was, but that led me to understand the gaps as well. And when I returned, and when I was exposed to what Dr. Amjad Saqib from Akhuat has achieved or is doing. So Akhuat, I don't know if you're aware of it or not, is
No, not much.
the world's largest interest-free microfinance.
Wow.
And Dr. Amjad Saqib is a medical doctor, but went to the civil services, and then he gave up. And the return rate of that is 99.98%,
Yeah.
which is much higher
Yep.
than Yunus Saab's microfinance, which invests around 35% in the administrative costs, as opposed to Akhuat's less than 10%.
Wow.
So it's a brilliant example of bringing that kind of thought,
बिल्कुल।
coupled with the religious requirements of interest, and then taking it to the whole of Pakistan. I said that's a positive story, one. The second, because I work in digital health, and IT has transformed healthcare. Probably healthcare जो है वो सबसे ज़्यादा इसका beneficiary या इसका जो है वो affectee है, कह ले आप जो भी. So हमारे artificial intelligence use होती है, और in the space of radiology.
Yes.
अब रेडियोलॉजी की स्पेस में द आर्टिफिशियल इंटेलिजेंस जो आपकी बात थी, उसको मैं थोड़ा सा, जैसे आपने कहा कि ऐसा अब नहीं है.
Yep.
The system actually learns.
Yep.
The system has been developed in such a way that it can learn itself. और वो इतना लर्न कर लेता है कि वो compared to the best of the radiologists or the physicians, the top,
Yep.
उनकी diagnostic capability से कहीं advanced है वो.
Exactly.
उसकी वजह क्या है कि उसकी एक्सेस उस लेट्स से अगर सीडी स्कैन है या एक इमेज है, उसकी वो चीज़ें जो एक ह्यूमन आई देख भी नहीं सकता. अभी गूगल इन द लास्ट ईयर जो सीईओ साहब हैं गूगल के, ही केम इन फ्रंट ऑफ द वर्ल्ड एंड व्हाट डिड ही टॉक अबाउट? नंबर 1 इज हेल्थ केयर. सो जस्ट इमेजिन दैट एन आईटी कंपनी सीईओ टॉकिंग अबाउट हेल्थ केयर, नॉट अ टेक्नोलॉजी एंड आर्टिफिशियल इंटेलिजेंस. और उसमें क्या है कि वो सिर्फ और सिर्फ आँख को देखते हैं, उस आँख को देखने से दे कैन प्रिडिक्ट, जो कि कोई डॉक्टर नहीं कर सकता इस वक्त टुडे.
बिल्कुल.
द सिस्टम कैन प्रिडिक्ट कि ये मरीज के कितने चांसेस हैं उसको स्ट्रोक होने के, कितने चांसेस हैं कोई और बीमारी होने के, एंड रिट्रोस्पेक्ट में तो बता देता है कि जी इस मरीज को इतना ब्लड प्रेशर रहा होगा पिछले 3 साल के अंदर. लेकिन फ्यूचरिस्टिकली, सो मेरा अपना ख्याल है कि जो एक चीज़ हमने सीखी है ना, वी डोंट नो व्हाट वी डोंट नो.
Yep.
सो आर्टिफिशियल इंटेलिजेंस के अंदर दिस अप्लाइज. वी हैव नो क्लू कि अगले 3 साल के बाद
मैं आपको इस
क्या
पे
होगा.
बिल्कुल आपने सही बात की, और मे बी वी कैन गो टुवर्ड्स कंक्लूजन. जो टेक्नोलॉजी की एडवांसमेंट्स होती है ना, इट हैपेंस एट एन एक्सपोनेंशियल स्केल. ह्यूमन बीइंग्स थिंक इन लीनियर स्केल. सो एक्सपोनेंशियल स्केल में क्या होता है कि शुरू के जो स्मॉल, it's doubling every few months or every few years, right? We don't even notice that. But as soon as it reaches the knee of the curve, which is like after 7 iterations, the next doubling is like overpassing the continuous incremental increase, right? So we have to think exponentially. The other part is, maybe final comment is, in future, every company, every business would be a technology company. If they are not, they will be irrelevant and they'll be out of business.
So, one question जो कि आपने पहले दो last question हम ले लेते हैं, if you allow.
My name is Hassan and I'm general manager with Candyland. I'm looking after the export. And being an industry guy, मैंने observe किया है कि अभी भी जो एक gap है between the academia and the industry, it is huge. Like
I'm sorry, I missed that bit. What is the gap?
The gap between the industry and the business world and the academia. It's very huge. Like मैं अभी भी guest speaker session में भी जा चुका हूँ कराची यूनिवर्सिटी में, IBM में मैं न्यू स्टूडेंट्स को काउंसिल भी करता हूँ, बट आई स्टिल फाउंड बहुत अच्छी यूनिवर्सिटीज़ भी जो हैं वो दे आर नॉट अलाइंड विद द इंडस्ट्री नीड. तो आई डोंट नो, दिस इज़ वेरी 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 इंपॉर्टेंट पॉइंट.
इट्स अ ग्लोबल प्रॉब्लम.
या इट्स, आई बिलीव इट्स अ ग्लोबल प्रॉब्लम, बट फिर बहुत सारी चीज़ों पे वो लोग इम्प्रूव कर गए हैं, बट हियर इट इज़ द नीड ना. तो यहाँ पे इसको इस गैप को किस तरह से, आई एम वेरी मच इंटरेस्टेड टू फिल दैट गैप एंड आई रियली वांट टू कंट्रीब्यूट समथिंग. बट इस गैप को जब तक हम फिल नहीं करेंगे इन एनीवेयर इन द वर्ल्ड, वी आर टॉकिंग अबाउट द पाकिस्तान, तो आई बिलीव कि ये जो चेंज आ रही है इतनी तेज़ी से, जो बात आपने की डॉक्टर अताउर रहमान ने आज से 4 साल पहले की थी कि द स्पीड ऑफ इनोवेशन वुड बी लाइक 3 times. मुझे वो मिले थे एयरपोर्ट पे, मैं ट्रैवल कर रहा था, तो मैंने कहा सर आपने 5 साल की बात की थी, वो 4 साल में हो गई.
वो लीनियरली थिंक कर रहे थे ना, और एक्सपोनेंशियल प्रोग्रेस हो रही थी.
एग्जैक्टली. तो इसमें मैं चाहूँगा कि आपकी क्या व्यूज़ हैं.
आई थिंक मैं इसमें खाली बस एक पॉइंट कहूँगा. एज आई सेड, आई डोंट हैव ऑल द एनी सॉल्यूशंस, बट इफ अगर आप हायर कर रहे हैं किसी इंजीनियर को टू बिल्ड अ मोबाइल ऐप फॉर एग्जांपल, ठीक है, आपके पास एक रेज्यूमे आता है कि यार मैंने बैचलर्स किया हुआ है एनडी से, नस से, इधर से उधर से, ये वो है, और ये मेरा प्रोजेक्ट है. अब आपको पता नहीं कितना सही है कितना सही. दूसरा बंदा आता कहता है सर मेरा पोर्टफोलियो है, ये मेरी वेबसाइट है, इसमें मेरे ना 5 प्रोजेक्ट्स हैं जो मोबाइल ऐप्स के हैं, आप जाके देख लीजिए, वो सारे आप ना गूगल प्ले पे भी हैं और एप्पल के iTunes पे भी हैं, इसके इतने यूज़र्स हैं, उसके इतने यूज़र्स हैं, उसके इतने रिव्यूज़ हैं, और मैंने हाई स्कूल भी नहीं किया हुआ. Who would you hire? The thing is, as I mentioned, you have access to all the knowledge in the world at your fingertips. You should not be waiting for formal education to teach you the skills that are necessary to be relevant in the marketplace. Obviously, there are still some areas like medicine or law, jahan pe you need to have accreditation. I don't want to go to a doctor who is not board certified, right? मैं अपनी जान को उनके हवाले कर रहा हूँ, right? So you have to have the stringent knowledge and all those kind of things, right? But I think most other stuff, it's about skills and capabilities rather than degrees and diplomas.
So the last question, please.
Ji, Assalamu alaikum. My name is Ataf Qureshi. I'm a barrister by trade and also the co-founder of Bookla.com, which is a legal tech in Pakistan. We were incubated at the Nest. I'm also a mentor at the National Incubation Center and have been for about 4 or 5 years now. So I've been watching the progression of startups and entrepreneurs in Pakistan. Young entrepreneurs, anything from say 18 to maybe even up to 30, are all learning design thinking. That is not a problem as such.
Yep.
They're very creative, they're very innovative.
Yep.
What the problem they actually face is a contextualized, localized form of design thinking in an emerging market context, and particularly with one surrounded by the mindset that's prevalent in Pakistan. And what they end up having the problem with, and I even have the same problem, is that you come in thinking about the first problem, you're open to the identification of other problems, but you eventually come to problems that are beyond your scope, beyond your control, that completely eliminate the ability of you undertaking what you were planning to do as either plan A, plan B, or even plan Z. And mindset is fine, it's awareness, it's education, etc. But the only comment I wanted to raise with you is that we learn from Silicon Valley and various digital centers for how we try to deal with this issue. But we actually find the material lacking for our issues in Pakistan itself.
Yes.
And where I would encourage Open is if we can bring that level of knowledge but contextualize it and localize it to ground realities, and how we can train our kids to be design thinkers for Pakistan.
I couldn't agree more with you. Absolutely right. I mean, and I'm glad you brought it up, because I've been asked by several of the local organizations and folks here to kind of help in this direction in bringing design thinking to Pakistan in a contextual, local context. So we are still kind of in discussion and trying to see what we can do, but I think that's absolutely right. One lesson from my experience is that even in business, people got scared, like, and what is this design thing? It's a very nebulous concept, and especially business people who have the string of the purse, they don't really see, they want to see ROI, right? And it's very difficult to do that. So I stopped using the term design thinking. I just started using it without telling that this is design thinking. And what that meant was I started asking them questions about their business, about their customers. And a lot of times the business executives, if I ask them about what their users is going through, they would not have the answer. They will be stumped. And then that's essentially, so don't, what we and I've grown up in Pakistan, so I know that people have a tendency of using a lot of jargon to impress others. ये होता है बहुत jargon, right? यहाँ पे आपको मिलेंगे बड़े English भी ऐसे fluently बोल रहे होंगे to impress others. And jargon ना कोई एक नया 3-letter acronym मिल गया या 2-letter मिल गया, AI मिल गया, बस वो शुरू हो गया ना impress करना. It's not about that. It's about finding the problem and bloody well solving it, right? That's what it is. And creating value for the end user. So I think it's about internal mindset. And I've spoken with CEOs and a lot of C-level executives across the world of top, and you just ask basic questions about their business model and about their operations and about their customers, and they're stumped. The point is not to embarrass them. The point, again, the way you ask the question makes a huge difference. The point is you are genuinely curious about their business and their customers. And say, okay, what can we do to find what is important for the customer and for the user? Well, why don't we go and talk to them? That's essentially the user research piece of design thinking without even talking about the term design thinking. So that's what I'm trying to see how I can bring that knowledge and awareness here to Pakistan.
Sure. So I think a few things. One is what I've learned. I'm sure that there are many different learnings. One is that design thinking with the right context, which is the Pakistani context, and I think that's where Open Silicon Valley, Open Karachi, people like yourselves who have studied or lived, started in Pakistan, now alhamdulillah have access to whatever, this new ideas, exponential. So we work in exponential medicine. So one of my colleagues, Daniel Kraft, is part of the Singularity University.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
And we've been talking about exponential medicine.
No, I attended their global summit earlier this year. Yeah.
So I think Open Global and Open Karachi or Open Lahore, Open Islamabad, जो आपने बात की, we can bridge that gap. The second, obviously, which आपने जो शुरू में कहा कि हमें अपने आप को, अपने juniors को, अपने colleagues को, अपने seniors को irrelevance से बचाना है. So if that's the take home, so with that, again, I formally thank you. I know you have to catch a flight, you're going straight to the airport. Thank you very much. आपने हमें मौका दिया और हम कोशिश करेंगे कि हम इस तरह के सिलसिले को जारी रखें. And I hope that you take a good message back to all the Pakistanis in Open, especially in Open, कि जब भी वो पाकिस्तान आए, they're welcome. We would love to hear, learn from them, ask questions, the right questions, with an open mind, an open mindset, inshallah.
Thank you very much for inviting me over here. It was an honor.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So अब हम आपको जो है वो एक हमारे souvenir है वो हम आपको देना चाह रहे हैं.
Oh, thank you very much.
डॉक्टर इमरान अगर वाइस प्रेसिडेंट ओपन कराची और हमारे एक पार्टनर ऑर्गेनाइजेशन है पीपीएम है उसके भी साबिक चेयरमैन है हारून कासिम साहब, वो भी आप आ जाएं तो हम इनको जो है वो टोकन दे दें और फिर आपने भी एक टोकन देना है.
बिल्कुल बिल्कुल बिल्कुल.
हाँ वो ओपन की शील्ड दे दें.
पहले ओपन की शील्ड तो सर नहीं
चलिए.
Thank you very much. बहुत शुक्रिया नवाजिश।
ट्रांसफॉर्मेशन की थैंक यू वेरी मच फॉर कमिंग टू ट्रांसफॉर्मेशन।
बिल्कुल, impressive work you guys are doing.
थैंक यू।
फूल आप हारून साहब से दिला दें।
जी हारून साहब पीपीएमए की तरफ से।
Sir, you have made me feel a celebrity.
तो ये ट्रांसफॉर्मेशन की 2 बुक्स हैं।
Oh.
You said that you read these books.
Oh yes, I do.
तो ये हमारी बुक हमारी आखिरत का सफ़र है।
माशाल्लाह।
इससे अपने रूहानी मालिश खुद बनी।
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Oh जी जी।
सर को देनी
तो ये मेरी बुक है।
आप पढ़ सकते हैं।
पर इसमें एक मिनट है फरा बेटा आप आ जाओ। This is the
पर आप भी आ गए, सही।
फरहान आप प्लीज
ये तो बोर्ड
जो
मेंबर,
हमारे ओपन के मेंबर हैं
बोर्ड मेंबर इरम आप भी आ जाए please।
ओपन के बोर्ड मेंबर्स जो हैं वो प्लीज ओपन वाले जो हैं वो बिकॉज़ दिस इज प्रेजेंटेड टू ओपन बहन तशरीफ ले।
थैंक यू वेरी मच।
सर ओपन वाले यहीं रहेगा अगर मैं वाले साहब से एक रिक्वेस्ट करूं बिकॉज़
बिल्कुल आइए।
बुजुर्गों की दुआओं के बगैर हम जीरो
आइए।
तो
मैं यही कहने वाला था।
तो आप अगर प्लीज जो है वो यहाँ सेंटर पे आ जाएं तो
आइए।
Then-
अभी हमने अब्बू की इस वीक जो है 50th एनिवर्सरी भी
अच्छा,
सेलिब्रेट की है।
थैंक यू वेरी मच।
थैंक यू वेरी मच।
एआई कुछ क्रिएट करे या ना करे ये क्रिएट
नहीं कर सकते, बिल्कुल नहीं कर सकते, बिल्कुल।
कांग्रेचुलेशन सर।
ये क्रिएट नहीं कर सकेगा।
या बहुत शुक्रिया आप लोगों का। या इट वाज ये मैं
सर चाय लग चुकी चाय वो भी साथ
ये
बेटा सर के बारे में सारी चीजें रखेंगे।
थैंक यू।